I'm here with Lori Sudbring today. She's the owner of Unlimited Coaching Solutions, and she's the author of Leading with Grit. We're talking about the stress of being in a management position. Lori, what do you attribute most of this stress to?
Yeah. Hi, Maureen. Great to be here. A management position is probably one of the toughest roles there is because you're really, you're caught in the middle, so to speak. You're still responsible to be that individual contributor and get stuff done, yet you're responsible now from upper management to make sure your whole team gets to the best result that they can. That's a lot of pressure because you're not always in control or even in the know when new policies are coming down the pipeline or when changes are going to happen, and sometimes you haven't even had time to buy into that yet. You're expected to just make this whole team get on board and make this happen, and that it's tough because you feel stuck. You feel like you're stuck in the middle of making upper management happy, whether it's the CEO, the owner, the C-suite, to making your team happy and feel inspired and productive. So yeah, it's a tough role.
Yeah. And so I know you've spoken before about people being promoted into those manager roles because they're good at their current jobs, and that the responsibilities of a manager are so different.
Yeah, it's I see it all the time.
So
Yeah.
So I was just going to say, and you're probably going to start with that. What is it about this training that you're putting on that's going to help people be better at that?
Yeah, well, it's a different skill that people need. People are promoted because they've done so well in the current job that they're in. So they're really good at that. They've got good work ethic. They've learned their skill well. They're doing really well. And upper management says, let's promote Maureen into the next position. But they're not really given the tools that they need, the right tools that they need. Right. They'll say, oh, let's send her off for a day of supervisory skills training. And at best, it's mediocre. You'll go away for that day and it's like, oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. And you come back kind of jazzed and everybody's like, oh boy, Maureen went to training, and it's almost worse sometimes because you come back, you start falling back into your old habits. Life is busy and you haven't made real change, and you notice now the things that you should be doing. So, we're really not provided the right skills. And yeah, that's something that we do differently, is we help people to kind of look inside and make a lasting shift.
So it kind of sounds like my New Year's resolutions that fail come, February 15th. I'm good for that short amount of time, and then I just feel good about it. So
yeah.
What is it that makes, you talked about that lasting change and getting that to be a little bit more ingrained. So how do you do that?
It does take self-reflection, but it's deeper than that. Most leadership classes will at least touch on, oh, you need to self-reflect. What did you do right? What did you do wrong? What should you do differently? And that is important. But if we don't get to a level inside that really shifts us, because it's not, our roles are a mix. It's a mix of leading and managing. It's not just leadership, it's not just management. And I've talked about that before, that it's a blend of those two things, and that's complex. It's complex to be able to really relate and communicate to people at different levels. It's complex to understand the emotional intelligence, what people are feeling, and it takes a real mind shift. It takes the ability to think completely differently about what your role is and what you're doing. It's really, it gets to this level of, we've got to feel like we want to help people, that we want to be able to give them that critical feedback.
Yeah.
Not like we have to, because we know if we're to give that critical feedback to somebody that reports to us, first of all, it might be the only opportunity that they have to learn this, to even discover this about themselves. And then, it's really allows them the opportunity to make a change. So we want to help them. And when it becomes authentic, that you're there to want to help people grow and develop, that's when real change happens.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, that very much sounds, I can see what you mean when you're talking about that mindset shift and that you're doing the same thing, but your intention about it is different. So I see you've got this Lead with Grit class coming up. Can you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I'm excited because we're going to hold it for the first time in St. Pete, Florida, one of my favorite places. So I'm down here quite a bit now, and working from the Tampa Bay area. And so we put together a 3-day best of the best. So I do 3-day leadership workshops all the time. I've done them for over 20 years. This one is taking a much deeper inside look at who we are as leaders, as individuals, and helping us to go deep and really make that shift inside so that when we change our behaviors, it's going to stick, it's going to last, because that's what's happening. We go to these workshops, we learn these things in books, we focus on, and most leadership training focuses on the behaviors you should change, and they give you step by step and they give you scripts, and that doesn't last. I mean,
Right.
those things are important. We need the know-how, but without really making that shift inside, it's not going to last. And what's unique about the training that we have coming up, it's November 7th, 8th, and 9th in St. Pete at a really cool facility. What's unique about it is we're going to take at least the first day to really look inside. And, people don't typically do that because they don't want to take the time. They're not in the habit of doing it. And it can be, pretty uncomfortable sometimes. So it helps to have a facilitator to help you through that so that you can feel good and confident about who you are, and then be able to manage and lead in a way that you don't feel stressed out. You don't feel guilty about leaving the office early when you really have to. You feel accomplished at the end of the day instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, I didn't get so much done. And you everything kind of shifts and changes, and it feels almost too good to be true, but it's not it's not an effort anymore. It feels like it's just flowing when we make this shift.
Right. And so I've been in that position before too, where you're so inspired by something and you just can't wait to apply those principles to the work that you're doing. And it sounds like these things are going to apply to personal
Oh
life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's you and I both know as moms, and myself a grandmother now, and how important it is to be balanced, so to speak, to be able to really feel good in your personal life and your professional life so that you can show up
Yeah.
and be that mom, that wife, that husband, that boss, that leader, that manager that you really know you can be.
Yeah.
But
So
what happens is,
I love that you're
go
calling this
ahead.
an immersion too, because I feel like you get so immersed in not only the day-to-day of work and of personal life. And so it takes that immersion of this 3-day workshop to be able to learn all of the things to change the immersion of the rest of your life. So I love that. So it looks like a really unique workshop.
Yeah.
And I see that you've got some limited attendance. There's only 12 people that you're allowing into the class. So can you talk a little bit about that? Why is it limited?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In order to really go to the level that we need to go with a good amount of attention and customization for each person, 12 is really the max for a workshop like this. And what's going to be really beneficial to people is we've got the right environment to do this, the right tools, the right techniques to make this kind of transformation that we all have it. It's inside. It's just, it's that the opportunity to get to who you really are so that you can do the things that you want to do, and you can feel so differently. It's going to be quite a freeing experience for people.
Freedom was exactly the word that was coming to mind for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds so great. So tell me about the special bonuses that you've got going on right now.
Yes. So for the first 6 people, I love giving bonuses. For the first 6 people that sign up, get their seat in this class. And by the way, it is an application process. We're not taking just anyone. So I will warn you about that. You'll apply, we'll give you the link and everything. But for those first 6 people, I am going to give you something that's worth $1,200. It is the best 360 leadership feedback assessment program that you will ever experience. And I, will help you through going about how to, implement the 360. And what's really cool about it is most people shy away from 360s. They don't want to get that feedback from their peers, their, managers, their direct reports, because it often isn't done correctly. It hurts, people don't like it. This tool and the way we roll it out makes sure that it's not going to be that way. In fact, there's a unique feature called Comment Smart, and it takes the sting out of the comment. So every comment that you are able to give to that leader is done in a way that's helpful. It's going to be productive. So it's not something that is useless and people are wondering, well, who the hell said that? So it's a really great tool, and it is highly recommended. I push for this after the training, that you do this within 3 to 6 months anyway. Mm-hmm. So get your seat now. First 6 people are going to do this for free.
That's great. Well, all of this sounds so exciting. I know that there's more information on your website at unlimitedcoaching.com. So tell people how they can get in touch with you in case they have some more questions.
Yeah. So the link, first of all, right, Maureen, I think the link is unlimitedcoaching.com/lead-with-grit.
You got it.
Is that correct? Okay. So that's where you can get on and get more information about the program that's coming up in November in St. Pete. And then to get a hold of me, leadingwithgrit.com is probably the best place. Start following. I give these free practical workplace tips once a week. Most people absolutely love them. And I give some feel good, kind of fun stuff in there too. It's free, so sign up for that. Definitely, if you want to reach me directly, you can get me at Laurie, and that's LAURIE at unlimitedcoaching.com. Email is the best because I'm always out and about and training and traveling, and so it's best to reach me that way at first.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks so much, Laurie, for your time, and thanks everybody for
one thing I forgot is if people want to learn a little bit more about grit and about that whole system, Leading with Grit is a book that I published, actually Wiley published it, world's best, largest publisher, 2 years ago. And you can get it on Amazon. You can get it hard copy. You can get it Kindle. Highly, highly recommend reading that book because, like you said earlier, it's not just about leadership in the workplace, but it's about how you lead your life. And Leading with Grit has 3 different sections. The first section is all about how do I lead my own life and myself? And you'll get a good taste for a little bit, what we might, touch on in this class. So Leading with Grit at Amazon, highly recommend getting that too.
Yeah, that's great. And I couldn't recommend that more highly too. I've read Laurie's book and it was really wonderful, especially the way that it's broken up, like you were just saying, into those 3 sections. And because it is more, it is a whole process, and it's a great way to live your life, like you said.
Yeah.
So remember, everybody, those specials are only for the first 6 people for that $1,200 Leadership 360 program. Those are not going to last. Get your applications in sooner rather than later. We want to make sure that Laurie has time to review those and get the right people in.
Come to St. Pete, come with me. It's going to be so fun, and I guarantee you this is going to change your life. It's going to make a huge difference, and we're going to have fun too.
Yeah, that sounds like a great way to wrap up. Thanks so much, Laurie, and thanks everybody for being here.
Thanks, Maureen.
Thanks.